A piece of Indiana history is now all the way over in Australia. Pretty cool story here. As News 18 previously reported back in 2017, a Cass County resident no longer needed his barn on his property. So a company came to take the barn down piece by piece with the goal of rebuilding it in Australia in mind. Now the local Indiana barn is finally put back together on the other side of the world.
This barn from the 1800s used to sit on Roger Kunkle's Cass County property. Now, the Hoosier barn is across the world in Australia and looks like this.
I'd like to go down and see it and stay there.
After no longer needing the barn on his property, Kunkle wanted to find a way to repurpose it.
It's better than just tearing it down and just using the lumber out of it by sawing it up, because there's great demand for just the big beams and cutting them into boards.
So that's when he reached out for some help.
The man who took it down was Kyle Clifton, who he was in contact with a guy from Australia. So he came out and looked at it like 3 different times and looking at other barns across the United States. So he decided on this one.
As you can see, the lot is empty and the barn is gone. As News 18 previously reported, back in 2017, the barn was dismantled piece by piece.
The man who dismantled it said it was the oldest barn he'd ever taken down.
It took the crew roughly 3 weeks to take it down. Then it was placed in a shipping container for a long journey ahead.
And then it went to Chicago to be fumigated. And then it caught a truck to Philadelphia, to where it was loaded onto a ship, and 37 days later it arrived in Melbourne, Australia.
Now, 6 years later, the barn has been rebuilt across the world.
It just looks great.
This right here is what the repurposed Cass County barn looks like in Australia. Set on 100 acres of farmland, guests can rent the barn to host events and much more.
He uses it as like a bed and breakfast, or he rents it out. It says it'll sleep up to 11 people.
Kunkle would love to visit his old barn one day. He says it's amazing to know that a piece of Cass County history is clear across the world.
Yeah, it can live on now, which I'm really happy.
So cool. Kunkle plans to build a new, bigger barn where the old one sat, and he plans to use it to store his farm equipment in.